All right, thank you very much for watching part 3 of my tire cleaning series. This one is kind of going beyond the clean tires. So hopefully you watch other videos. It's how to clean your wheel wells and how to clean your tires. But now it's all about making this stuff look really good. So we're going to be looking at the rims a little bit and saying, okay, you've cleaned your rims. They're looking good. They're looking shiny. But maybe they've got a little bit of dirt still left on them. There's stuff that's really hard to get out of there. Maybe they're really clean, but when you feel them, they're kind of rough to the touch. They do get hit with everything, right? What can you do? Clay bar your rims. That's the way to go. Let's get right to it, shall we? So what do you need to get this job done? Well, you need a clay bar kit. This is one here. You can use any good solid clay bar kit. That'll work just fine. One thing to point out, as you can see, I've marked this one tires. The clay bar kit I use for my rims, I do not touch any other part of the car with. It is only for the rims and that's it. Just so you can see what's in the kit in case you're curious. You get a quick detailer. In this case, I ran out of what was the standard quick detailers in there, so I bought a new one. You have a microfiber cloth, and then you have your clay. Now, because I use this for rims, you'll see the clay is starting to get a little warm, but it's still very good. But, you know, what you would normally leave on the body, you wouldn't necessarily use on the body. The rims, you can be a little more liberal with, simply because the rims already get hit with so much as it is. You're not, unless it's like really, even now we're going to use chrome, do these on chrome rims, but unless they get hit really, really hard, this will still hold. The clay holds it really well, so this will work just fine. That's all you really need. All right, a few points to mention. First thing is that if you're really doing you're taking the time and doing this properly, it is a bit of a time-consuming process. It's not hard, but it does take some time, especially if you want to hit every corner and make sure you get the rims. This rim is actually pretty straightforward, as it's only a 5-spoke. But you know, if you get something that's more complex, lots of spokes or anything like that, it could take even longer. So keep that in mind when you're doing your rims. Also, it is worth pointing out that this is the easiest to do as far as making sure you're covering every spot if the wheels are off the car. But realistically, who's going to do that, right? It's not something you can easily do. So, you know, we're all going to be doing it. I'm going to be doing it right on the car itself because that's what most people are going to do. Taking the wheels off is not something everyone will do. Also, this assumes that you've also washed your rims and your tires, which I've already done here, as you can clearly see. If you need help with either cleaning your wheel wells, cleaning the tires or the rims with the wheels on or off, make sure to check out the other videos as well. Alright, so to do this is just a matter of spraying on your detailer liberally, making sure you cover all areas, because if there's a dry spot, so if I spray here and I miss a spot here and I go up with the clay bar, it's going to stick and it could smear a bit, and it's also not going to catch and pull all the dirt out. It needs to be wet for this to pull out anything embedded in the rim itself. So you want to be fairly liberal with it. Start off with about half the rim or so, and we're just going to take the clay bar and work it over. You want to be careful not to get it in contact with the tire, because if you do, it could pull some of the stuff out of the tire. You're going to get that onto your clay bar, you're going to mess it up, so you want to avoid that. For here, I've got it like a little bit of a groove, so I'm making sure I get within the groove as well. Working along the edge. Like I said, this is actually a fairly easy example because some rims are far, far more complex than this one, right? Maybe worth pointing out, you want to do this on a dry day. You definitely don't want to do this when it's hot, because as soon as you spray the detailer on, it's going to start drying off on there. So in the shade, on a cool day if you can, if it's going to be a hot day, make sure you're in the shade for sure, right? Now, if you want to get into lug nuts, of course you could do so. I'm not going to do so, but if you want to, all those little details help. My whole thing is, if you're going to take the time to do in the lug nuts, you might as well take the wheel off. Now, after we've done, you know, this part of it, we're going to take that microfiber cloth and we are going to buff it out. if you go here and you felt the difference, you feel a little bit of the contaminants here. You obviously can't feel it, but try it for yourself. And here it's smooth like glass. Like honestly, and it's amazing to think of how it'll turn out. Actually, I see a little spot here, so I'm just gonna hit that. And rebuff it. And of course, now I'm not gonna do an entire rim simply because I'll be wasting your time watching me do the same process for the rest of the entirety of the car, but you can see the difference here for sure. Now, this part actually looked quite clean already, but if we go in close, you can see a little bit of the hazing that's there. Whereas you move over here, it's certainly a lot better. This is of course pre-wax as well. You wax after this. And now this is, I've went and done one rim entirely, and you can see the finish on there. So a little bit of a pro tip for you, if you want to know if this needs to be done, aside from touching it, but sometimes you don't want to touch it and ruin the finish you've already done. But if you actually go and spray it down, use your clay bar, and as you're pulling it, you could now make sure, assuming that you've wet it correctly and everything, as you're pulling the clay bar, if you feel it catching or it feels like it's pulling as you're moving down, that means there's still stuff embedded in there and the clay bar is trying to pull that out. So it should feel, when you are using the clay bar, it should feel smooth like glass when it's going on there. So make sure that that's what you're going for. Then of course, if you want to feel it yourself, you can. But of course, you don't want to put fingerprints on your nice clean rims. So make sure you're not doing that. So that's it, right? Seems pretty straightforward, pretty easy. This is of course if you want to just try and take anything that's got embedded into your rims as time has gone right out of it. Depending on how fanatical you are, you don't really have to do this that often. Once or twice a year is actually good, just to maintain the rims. But of course, if you like to have those nice shiny clean rims all the time, then you can do it as often as you want, really. But I find if you maintain it a decent amount of time, twice a year, as like I said, tends to work out pretty well. Now that that's all done, what's next? Well, next up is going to be waxing your rims. I'm actually going to do 2 videos on this. First, I want to test out a couple things here, because first, they do sell wax specific to rims, but do you really need to use it? Can you use a regular car wax? We're going to do a video on that first, and I'm going to do a video on showing you how to wax your rims itself. So make sure to check those out next. Of course, if you have any comments, anything you want to add, anything you saw that you could do different or better or anything like that, by all means, leave it in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you do dislike, let me know why as well, just so that way, again, I can make the content better, all right? I want to thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next video.